Guys, I'm just back from the King of the Irons. I won the King of the Irons in semi-auto. I shot perfect match, highest overall score with this M1A, and placed second in bold action using a Swedish Mauser. Some of your questions underneath of the post were how I'm doing it. So I prepared the clear knockout 7 points list for you to help you out to be better at competing at the matches. I always start with selecting the rifle, and I will talk about the process. It's very simple, down to the wire, but I will tell you right away, for the bolt action, if you going for those iron sight matches, you will do most likely very well with M1917 or M1903s. Especially with M1903s, it's easy to build a match rated clone rifles because it's very easy to get the components. Those rifles have a very good sights. A lot of people feel very comfortable with them, and they shoot really good at the matches. I prefer to use for the bolt action really vintage stuff, so I don't do clones, but a lot of people do, and I'm telling you, they're putting up the really nice scores on the board. But right off the bat, like if you don't know which rifle to start with, I would suggest either M1917 or M1903. I do the simple test, guys. For when I start looking for the rifle, I do the simple test. I use the old US Army 25 meters zeroing target, and simply you can find them on internet. You can download them for free, and I shoot from 25 yards at that target, and I always look how the rifle is grouping. It doesn't have to be one rugged hole, but you want to have on that target from 25 yards, if you can do 25 meters, but from 25 yards, you want to be inside that white circle. That's roughly 1.5 inch dimension for the diameter of the circle. If you will have a rifle which groups like that from 25 meters, then you will be okay. This is good enough to take it to the match. If you have the rifle which puts the one hole, that's even better, right? But as I said, it doesn't have to be that way, and a lot of people really cannot shoot that well with the irons at the beginning, right? So don't get stressed out. If you put the rounds inside that circle, I think that's good enough to put the serious damage at the match. The second point is always the ammo selection. And again, I stay with the factory ammo. For this rifle, I was using a Federal Gold Match ammo. And for the bolt action, I use just the PPU match ammo. And why I stay with the factory ammo, because I want you guys to have a chance to duplicate those results. Just like in the videos, I usually use the factory ammo. So then if you have the M1A or if you have the Swedish Mauser, for example, right, you know that there is a good chance you're going to see some outstanding results from that ammo. If you're reloading, of course, yeah, you can fine-tune the loads, but when I look at the ammo, I don't look just at the group sizes, guys. I prefer to have a really small standard deviation number on the muzzle velocity versus group sizes. You can get away with the larger group sizes, but if you will drop the ball on the muzzle velocity, if you have over 100 feet per second, right, for example, variations in the muzzle velocity, that's going to bite you at the extended ranges. And usually we shoot with the irons up to 600 yards. So that is making a difference, especially if the targets are 33%, 66% IPSC size. That's starting to make a big difference. So I pay tremendous attention to the ammo selection, and I put the standard deviation and muzzle velocity numbers as a first above the grouping. Like I prefer to have smaller numbers on standard deviation versus smaller groups. So that's my take on that. So pay attention to that. Use different ammos. Try to find out which ammo fits the best your rifle and which ammo is the best for the barrel you have. A lot of rifles with the vintage rifles with the older barrels, you gotta do some testing because none of them are preserved equally, right? And if you have a lot of erosion in the barrel, that rifle may like totally different ammo from what I'm using, right? But try it and find that ammo, I'm telling you, and focus on the standard deviation and keep those numbers as low as possible. I'm lucky enough for this rifle, I was shooting in the single digits, which is outstanding for the factory ammo for the standard deviation, right? But on the PPU, I was at, I think my standard deviation was 15 feet per second. So not great, but absolutely doable. Stay away from something. If you will see 25, 30 feet per second on a standard deviation, that's usually you're going to have a long day and you're not going to be happy. Next, establish good zero and start collecting dope. I cannot stress this out, guys. You have to have a good zero. If you not have zeroed rifle, that's not going to work, right? So make sure that your windage is set correctly. Spend time and really fine tune it. Make sure that zero is rock solid. With elevation, I understand there could be some variations. That goes back to the ammo too. Try to stay within the same lot of the ammo. So you got, the reference point, solid reference point. But for the vintage, I'm telling you guys, put some time, make sure you're set for the vintage. Again, the competition distances are usually set in yards. So when I start collecting a dope, I shoot at the 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, so on, all the way to 600 yards. And I collect my data. I write down in my dope book everything. I write down the weather conditions and I track my muzzle velocity. So I have the really solid data and I can always go back, okay, with this muzzle velocity, this is what I was seeing and this is how I was trending on the targets at those ranges. Your data has to be as precise as it gets. Again, usually targets are ranging from gongs to the 33% to 66% IPSC, 100% IPSC, but you have the oddballs like the coyote, for example, which on the last match they really have a coyote cutout and it was like really small coyote, more like a home dog. Here in Missouri you got the bigger coyotes, but they had that coyote, and the coyote will give you, the coyote target will give you the forgiveness on the windage, right? Because the coyote is usually that long, so you can walk from nose to the tail, that's fine. But you have very small forgiveness on the main body because that's a small target. And if that target is placed around 400 yards and you're shooting at that size of the target, your elevation, there's not much room on that elevation. So you have to have as precise data as possible, or otherwise you're going to miss it, right? Another example, in the last match, they had a human-sized target, but like literally just the human-sized target in the helmet, in the German helmet. And that target up front was covered with small IPSC. And so imagine this is the target, this is that head, and that was the small IPSC covering it partially, right? And right behind it, they had another IPSC size target. So if you screw up on the elevation, you can knock this target, that hostage target, or the hostage behind, and that would cost you negative 10 points. You had only 2 shots. If you hit it the first time, that was 20 points. But imagine you missing and you got the negative 10 points on the stage. So now on the second shot, if you will have a hit on the second hit, they're dropping points from 20 to 10. So even if you will hit that target If you have negative 10 and you're getting plus 10, you're walking out from the stage with 0 points. So you have to be really, really precise. Your data have to be precise. There is really no room for screw-ups. And for the stages like this, because I see this quite often in the competitions, they put something like it will cost you points if you will miss, right? Unless you are a Spetsnaz, you got 2 hostages and the one terrorist, you need 3 body bags. But most of the time, they will penalize you for hitting the wrong or hostage or target. So be prepared for the stages like this. If you don't feel solid about it, I will let you game it. Just miss off the targets completely. So better take off 0 points instead of losing 10 points, because that 10 points you may end up, it's hard to make up later on. So, but be prepared that the good solid data is the must. Train in the different weather conditions. That's another thing, like, which blows my mind. People look at the weather and they see there's windy or it's raining and they don't want to go and shoot and train. Guys, you don't know what kind of weather you're going to have. Well, maybe, a few days before the match, you kind of can see what the weather will be like. But the matches are held, no matter, unless you got some tornado going on, right? The matches are held in rain, in hot, humid weather, windy, whatever, right? So you have to be prepared for that, for any kind of weather. Especially, I will tell you, the wind. From what I'm seeing, from shooting the matches in competitions, wind is an absolutely equalizer. If you don't know how to read the wind, spend time learning it. You will benefit tremendously from it. And the wind, from what I'm seeing, it absolutely spreads havoc. When it starts blowing, the people losing their mind and they missing the shots which they shouldn't miss. And I understand, at the end of the day, we are all humans. I made the mistakes on the bolt action. When I was shooting that last match category, that's what, like, I made the wrong wind call. And that cost me, I missed only one target and it cost me the first place. So you gotta be careful with it. More you practice in wind, the more comfortable you will be shooting in the wind. Don't be afraid. Usually here in Missouri, we're getting 20 miles per hour winds, right? Blowing. That's a normal day. Lately we're getting even 30s, 35s. I mean, that's crazy, but like, you gotta be ready to shoot in that, I mean, maybe not 30s, but like 20 miles per hour, I would say that's a normal wind. So be ready to read the wind, learn how to read the wind, practice shooting in the wind, and you should know what your rifle can do. Now, with the iron sights, on some of the rifles, like on my Mauser, you cannot dial the wind. But even if I'll have the ability to dial the wind, I would not dial the wind. I prefer the holdovers. And the reason for this is, even at that last match, the wind was changing, guys. It was not constant wind from one direction blowing to another. It was constantly changing. And when you just looking on the glass and you're seeing what's happening, you gotta jump on the rifle and shoot it. That's it. Like, there's no time to make the adjustments. So I know some people like, especially with the sights like on M1A or Garans, you can dial the wind. I know that, or on the ARs. But I will tell you that for most of the time, train to do the holdovers, because again, that wind probably will be changing fairly quickly. So don't get stuck on dialing the wind. All right, the point number 6, the most matches, this is important one, most matches like this don't allow any use of the rear backs. So you can have a front support and have a sturdy front support. I see people shooting from the backs with the little, like a beanie bags on the top. I see people shooting from the different stands and things like this. So the front support is allowed, but have the sturdy one, something good, but there's no rear bag. And train to shoot without the rear bag. You cannot keep shooting with the rear bag, then go to competition and expect great results. That's not going to happen. When I train for competitions, I often shoot from the tripod too. I work on stability for the whole body. So I'm behind the rifle and I just, use my body and posture and to be as stable as possible. And more you practice that way, the better you will be. There is no cheating on that, guys. Like, you really have to go behind the rifle and try it out and start shooting and start using your left hand for the support. See where you have to place it on the stock, what works for you, what doesn't, and just go from there. But shoot and practice without the rear back. That's like, and I'm telling you, most of the matches I'm seeing, the rear backs are not allowed. And finally, most of the competitions, the day before or on the day at the match, but early in the morning, they will allow you to check the zero. Check your zeros, guys. With this rifle, thank God I checked my zero, right? And what happened was I find out that my screw is loose on the sides. So this is another point too. Have your toolkit always with you so you can fix your rifle. So I found out the screw is loose, I tightened up the screw, I had the sides marked, boom, I'm checking I'm right on the target. But if not, I would go to match and I'm trying to dial and nothing is happening, right? And then you're panicking, you're in nerves, and shit happens. So check your zero. As I said, like 99.9% matches will allow you to check your zero. Have the tool kit back. In my toolkit, I got everything. I got the screwdrivers, I got any socket wrenches, whatever is necessary, especially with vintage rifles, guys. I have learned this from shooting a lot of matches, that shit happens during the matches, and you may have to fix it, or otherwise you staying, without the rifle, and you cannot compete. So with old hardware, be prepared. But even with the new rifles, right, be prepared to fix them. This one is from 1980s, and it is, you may say, oh well, 40 something years, that's not bad, but it is aging, right? So we gotta be careful. Everything can, the plug can get loose here, so there's a lot of screw ups which can happen. Be ready to fix it so you can stay in the game and compete. All right, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you want to, we can start doing the videos where I will show you how to get behind the rifle, how to shoot the rifle. I mean, we can start from the basics. If you are interested in the videos like this, absolutely, I'm for it. Just let me know below in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to do that for you guys, and maybe we can learn something from each other too. I am not, it's not like I know everything. I'm still learning, and I will continue to learn to the end of my days. But I have learned a few tricks from different situations, and I can share that experience with you guys too. All right, see you in the next video. Bye.